Okay.
Hey.
We're good. Recording's in progress, Chris. Let's do it.
Okay, well, we're doing this before the episode. We're just putting it in afterwards to humbly apologize for our mistake of not recapping the episode. So we're going to throw that in at the end. We're sorry. We are not good at podcasting yet, but we're going to get there. Isn't that right, Rob?
Yeah, the entire ranking thing that this show is based on, we forgot to do. So,
yeah, the whole point.
Yeah, so we're just gonna here's our little intro, our little groveling and humbling ourselves, self-flagellation, if you will, and hold on tight to the end of the credits at the show. You'll hear the theme song, and then we will go through the recap that we were supposed to go through.
Wee! Let's do it.
All right.
Since the dawn of film creation, there have been commonalities that bond all full-length features. The plot drives the story from beginning to end. The dialogue helps to deliver the plot, develop the characters, and transition the film from scene to scene. The production budget of a film is the financial investment generated to create the movie, procure the actors, and advertise the film. Great films utilize the budget effectively, write original and scintillating dialogue, and artfully guide the viewer through the plot. The focus of this podcast, however, is not to discuss great films. Instead, we have chosen to compare these movie commonalities for the purpose of ranking, with absolute precision, the worst movies ever made. Join hosts Rob Scucci and Chris Uckman as they discover, through scientific delineation, the worst movies ever made.
Hello and welcome to The Bomb Filter, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to determine the worst movie ever made. We put bad movies through a series of tests to decide just that. I'm your host, Chris Ockman, joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci. Hey, Rob, how are you, and why are we doing this?
We're doing this because we are masochists. We are both 30-somethings that have two young children. We don't like to sleep. With that lack of sleep, we like to subject ourselves to even more abuse in the form of films that, may have been reviewed in the past, but with hindsight and a lens of objectivity, we're able to really just notice that these things are fucking awful. And that's how we entertain ourselves. It's just a way to get through the day.
Yeah, we're doing it anyway, right? So why not let people share with us?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Armageddon was great when I was a kid.
I think we all did. And I'm going to get into why. We were 10 years old in 1998 when it came out. And in 1998, going to a movie was kind of like an event. If you missed that movie in theaters, you didn't have a chance to see it for another 10, 12 months. They actually had to press the DVDs or VHSs and get them shipped out to stores. You had to go rent them, stand in line. It's not like today where movies are kind of background fodder. And so I think just because of the times, people weren't stealing things yet. People weren't pirating things yet. If you bought 3 CDs with your allowance and 2 of them sucked, you found a way to like those things that summer because that's all you had. So I think with movies like Armageddon, we watch it and we think, man, that was an awesome movie. There were explosions. There were some witty lines and we laughed, we cried, we got through it together. And then you watch it as an adult and it was none of those things.
Yeah. I mean, it was explosions and maybe that's about it, but it's Michael Bay. So you come to expect that, right? I mean, that's kind of the word on Michael Bay is he just does a lot of blowing on things.
Yeah.
For no real rhyme or reason. I mean, we'll get into it, but there are things like whole scenes that didn't need to happen. I think just because he realized he wanted a few more explosions. So he was like, oh, wait a minute. Let me throw in this scene here and we could get a bunch of explosions going on.
This movie could have been 47 minutes.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's true. They could have cut out a lot of the fat. Would have been a pretty quick one. Speaking of quick one, why don't we move on to the bad movie reviews? I can get you started with what people thought, what critics thought of the movie at the time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Some M. Anderson from Common Sense Media says, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and directed by Michael Bay, Armageddon is a super packaged product designed and marketed rather than created. I say that's fair.
I'd say that's, yeah, you know what? They had the soundtrack locked and loaded. Aerosmith had 5 out of 14 songs on that soundtrack.
Wow. That's
even Come Together by the Beatles was performed by Aerosmith. So
jeez. I wonder why. I mean, was that common back then that they would sign like one band to do a majority of the sound? Well, not a majority, but a fair amount of the soundtrack.
Like I said off air to you, I watch these things in the vacuum. I try not to do much research, but Steven Tyler's daughter, Liv Tyler, was one of the prominent characters in the romantic interest. So I'm thinking he might have been a shareholder in the film. Like, hey, get my daughter on this. I'll give you guys we'll get Aerosmith in. You know, we'll write 2 songs for the movie. You can take some stuff from our back catalog and we'll just take it from there. So I think it goes into the whole marketing thing. It says, I think it was just money changing hands and people making deals and just a way to get this thing like this summer, you know, one of those.
Yeah. Aerosmith. All right. I've got another one for you.
Okay.
Here it is at last. The first 150-minute trailer. Armageddon is cut together like its own highlights. Take almost any 30 seconds at random, and you'd have a TV ad. The movie is an assault on the eyes, the ears, the brain, common sense, and the human desire to be entertained. No matter what they're charging to get in, it's worth more to get out. Who do you think said that?
Ebert.
It was.
Yeah.
It was I mean, dude, I do like his reviews. The more I read them, like, on movies we're doing.
Yeah. He's good. He's got a good wit, and you know what he likes and you know what he doesn't like. So you know if you're looking for someone to speak favorably of a movie like this, you know he's not the guy to go to.
Yeah, it's very true. This kind of action, you know, where it's just jam packed and frantic the way that it is, you just know he's not going to like it. So that I only wrote down the 2 because they're a little beefy and they're funny, and I thought they kind of hit the nail on the head. So those were my 2. So would you like to go into the Keystone apparatus?
Sure.
So I designed this one to get a proper evaluation of the ecosystem of films this movie exists in. So we averaged the Rotten Tomatoes critic scores for the movies suggested to us by the streaming service. So in this case, for me, it was Amazon. And then we get an average of all the Rotten Tomato critic scores of those movies and compare our Rotten Tomatoes critic score of Armageddon in this case.
Okay.
To see whether it is a keystone predator in its community or whether it's prey.
Okay.
So the movies that were suggested to me on Amazon were The Day After Tomorrow, Dennis Quaid and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
Which got a 45.
All right.
I disagree. I think maybe we'll do that in the future. It seems like I've only seen it once, but I hated it.
Yeah. I've only seen it on TV I've always seen it on TV and it's like, it takes 4 hours to watch it. So we'll give it a look. Yeah.
We'll have to see how long the runtime is. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Deep Impact. That's Robert Duvall.
Okay.
Oddly also a 45.
Okay.
Space Cowboys with Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay.
That one got a 78.
Okay.
Pearl Harbor.
Oh.
Affleck and Hartnett got a 24, and I think that might be generous.
That's also Michael Bay, too.
Oh, good point. The Core, Eckhart and Swank, 40%. Fifth Element, which I really like. Bruce Willis and Gary Oldman, 71.
Yeah, that's fair.
Dante's Peak with Brosnan and Linda Hamilton from Terminator, 26. Yeah. Really bad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So the average for all of these movies is a 47, which so far I think we've only done a few of these, but I think is the highest.
Okay.
thanks to Space Cowboys and Fifth Element, both in the 70s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Armageddon, you want to take a guess?
Like a 35?
That's a good guess. It was 38.
Okay.
So it is Prey. The other movies are eating it up.
Okay.
I mean, there's only 2 movies out of the 7 that were graded worse on Rotten Tomatoes.
I remember when this first came out, this and I think it was Deep Impact, like Armageddon was like already living in the shadow of Deep Impact before it came out. It was just one of those. It's never going to live up. There's never going to be another Deep Impact.
Yeah. Boy, I'll say. Okay. Well, hey, that's the Keystone apparatus.
Okay.
Why don't we whip ourselves right into the budget botch watch? I can give you a little. Since this is our first official, I'm going to give you a quick explanation of that one.
Sure.
Rob and I now assume the roles of budget analysts as we compare the actual budget of the film to the value we believe they extracted from it. The difference in these two values is our score. Simple as that.
Okay.
So how about we enter test number 1, the budget botch watch.
It's the budget botch watch.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so here's what we do. We take a guess on what the budget actually is.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I'm thinking because we did a couple pilots of the show and we talked about a few other movies, specifically Battlefield Earth, which is contemporaneous to this movie.
Yeah,
so
only 2 years later.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm just comparing like the quality of their special effects to Armageddon. And I'd say Armageddon would be like 75 million because I think the actual budget for Battlefield Earth was like 44 million. Yes. So I think Armageddon is superior in every way as far as special effects goes. I mean, it is impressive. I know there's like logic being defied, but it's visually pretty like fucking awesome.
It's pretty good. In the CGI category, I think the computer graphics, so to speak, are pretty damn good. The practical effects, I have some gripes.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree that the CGI is really good. And so you said 75?
Yeah.
I'll say 60. I'm going to scroll down now on IMDb and see what we're at. I do think it was pretty high budget. I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Let's see now. Box office budget 140 million. My God.
Whoa. Okay, so we were way off.
Yeah. Damn, dude. That's enormous. I'm surprised that any company would put that kind of money into a movie in 1998. But I guess with that ensemble cast, it probably cost a lot.
Yeah, he had a lot of top billed actors. He had like I said, he had Aerosmith, who was like in the height of their comeback at that time. And you know what? I realized, maybe you know this. I didn't really look into it too deeply, but
okay.
Did they actually have access to NASA in this movie? Did they actually go into control rooms and film?
Okay, so I didn't look that up, but they do have filming locations: Houston, Texas, Edwards Air Force Base, Ellington Air Force Base. So it looks like, I mean, they got I would not be surprised if NASA operated out of these areas. Launch Complex 39A, Kennedy Center. Yeah. That sounds like NASA. So, yeah, and I think that they actually got the okay from NASA to use some actual footage of the takeoff because as good as the CGI was in this movie, I don't think it is that perfect. I think there's actually video of the launch.
It looked like launch footage for sure. I'm just thinking securing like not the royalties, but like the licensing for that or like the rights to that would probably eat up a lot of the budget, even more so than the actual special effects.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So, well, just because I think it's interesting, the opening weekend they did 36 million.
Okay.
They grossed in the U.S. 200 million, so that's a 60 million increase profit. But worldwide, $500 million.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so this movie has made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So for the Botch Watch, we tried to decide how much of the 140 million they spent appropriately.
That's tough because I don't know what goes into securing the licensing and like getting I know they probably spent most of the money on the actors and the actresses.
I agree. Was it worth it? Was it worth having such an ensemble?
I don't think you needed half those names. I mean,
I agree.
Because half of them fucking die the second they get on the asteroid.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have cameos from well-known actors, even at the time, who barely get a line in and they're dead. So I agree. They spent a lot on actors they didn't really need. So I think that there's probably tens of millions there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Aerosmith? Do you think like it's worth having 5 of the 14 songs being Aerosmith?
I think I honestly, I swear, I don't know this factually, but there has to be some sort of package deal in there with Liv Tyler and Steven Tyler because, I mean, I know this. You may not know this about me. I'm a huge fucking Aerosmith fan. Like, they were my first favorite band.
I did not.
Yeah, they were my first favorite band. Like, every time I got allowance, I bought a new Aerosmith CD. I had like all their live albums.
Okay.
When 9 Lives came out, I was like lined up at Strawberries, like the local record store, to get a copy of it. So I know that 2 of those songs are off 9 Lives, and those were written like for Armageddon, which came out before that album dropped. And then 3 were from their back catalog, one of which being a Beatles cover. And I think Michael Jackson owned the rights to the Beatles songs. That's why they use Aerosmith for the Beatles song. So I think there has to be some sort of package deal there with Aerosmith and Liv Tyler, because he had to have been a shareholder in the movie or one of the executive producers, quote unquote. So I think a lot of money did go into that. And I want to say Steven Tyler was like standing behind the curtain, just kind of going like, no, make him kiss a little harder. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Kiss my daughter better. All right. So we'll say that budget was appropriately spent, at least the music part. Yeah. Because I think that probably generated sales.
It generated a shitload of sales. Yeah. And I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is a fucking banger, dude. Yeah. You know that song.
I've heard it once or twice. Sure.
Yeah.
And never sad to hear it. I say that now until you interrupt me 7 more times during the class. I don't know, maybe by the end.
Yeah.
All right. So how much do you want to, because I don't want to spend too much time on the budget. I don't want to bore the audience, but because I know that we find this interesting. Who knows if other people do, but how much do you think that we should dock them for paying all those actors?
The budget should have been $80 million.
Okay. I mean, that's going to be a big disparity.
Yeah, like what's that, like a $60 million disparity?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's call it an even 100. Let's call it an even 100.
So we'll go negative 40.
Yeah, negative 40 will be the score on this.
Yeah, because I'm going to dock them for some practical effects. Again, I'm a little pissed at them for some of the stuff they did.
Okay.
So we'll give them a negative 40 for the Budget Botch Watch, that's a bad start for them. As the listener will see or hear later, we're going to compare it to our defending champion. An episode maybe we'll release down the line.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Battlefield Earth. I think that Rob and I agree that we want to give Battlefield Earth another try because we were kind of in our infancy. Yes. And that movie, as of right now, is the worst movie ever made, according to our metrics. So we should probably give it another run. But yeah, maybe we'll release it so you can hear all of the scores as they happen.
Sure.
But for now, why don't we move on to our second test, which is called the elevator movie plot pitch. I'm going to tell you exactly what we do there. Okay. So an easy way to determine the strength of a movie is to summarize the plot as succinctly as possible. The gold standard plot pitch for the bomb filter is Spielberg's Jurassic Park. It's short, it's clear, it's easy to understand. Jurassic Park can be accurately summarized in as little as 10 seconds. When summarized, bad movies are convoluted, unclear, and lengthy. To help us determine how bad our subject is, we compare its plot pitch to that of our 10-second standard. Okay. So however many seconds it is past is our score. And then we administer a star rating, just for fun.
Okay.
So do you have a stopwatch handy?
I do. Should I play the bumper?
Yeah, go ahead. I've got my my plot pitch for you ready to go. So
all right.
I actually have my script for this movie that I just came up with. You ever see? Have you ever seen Top Gun? So it's like the guy from Top Gun. He works at a mall. And
okay, so it's a nice
he's trying to have this little lotion package. Hey, sir, I know you're in a hurry. Would you try So he's like got the lotion job.
And okay, there we go. Time for the elevator plot pitch.
Here we go. So stopwatch, Andy.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go.
Harry Stamper has always dreamed of jamming a titanium probe deep into an oncoming asteroid. Oh, for the minerals he might discover. As it happens, a meteor the size of Texas is headed straight for Earth. NASA decides to hire a crew of oil drillers to teach astronauts to drill. Here is Harry's golden opportunity to save Earth and drill for precious space materials all in one round trip. By refusing to teach but rather go himself, Harry hopes to come back with a score. Little does he know that big bad asteroid bitch has other plans.
34 seconds.
All right. So, as we said, anything past 10 seconds is our score. 34 gives us a score of 24, correct?
Yeah.
So, negative 40 million botch watch, 24-second elevator movie plot pitch. What did you think of the pitch?
I thought it was a solid pitch. I didn't even think of the mineral angle. You know, I was just so enthralled by like the action and the romance and the mystique. That
I don't know why, but I just had Harry Stamper in my head as a space embezzler.
Yeah, a little space embezzler, little with this space machine gun that Steve Buscemi uses later in the film for no reason.
Yeah,
shouldn't even be there. I don't know why.
I think Ben Affleck gets some shots off while he's up there too.
Oh yeah.
All right, so a score of 24. We need to also give it a star rating.
Okay, so I go 3 stars.
I go with a solid 3 stars. That sounded like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah. So here's the thing: is like as bad as this movie, as much as this movie falls short on a lot of things, it's still fun. It's like really fucking fun. You know,
it is fun. I mean, I was surprised at how bad it was. Like I said, because when I was a kid, I thought it was good. But, you know, I don't think it's going to be the worst movie ever made, not to spoil.
Nah.
But it's bad and it's good.
Yeah.
But let's tear it apart. We're going to move on to test number 3, the indefensible dialogue counter.
Okay.
So for this one, I have to find my little summary that I made, which is right here. Right here. Somewhere. Okay, here it is. This one's super short.
Okay.
So this test gathers the horrible lines of dialogue into a collection that is then tallied to give us our score. That's as simple as that.
Okay.
Bing, bang. All right, so I have my lines here, and Rob is going to try to defend them. And if he can't defend them, then we're going to tally them.
Okay, so here is the indefensible dialogue.
Something that makes absolutely no sense. Something similarly stupid.
Thank you, sir. All right, so I'm going to start off with a nameless NASA man.
Okay.
The planet is being demolished, at least New York City, of course, is getting demolished by what they call meteors.
Yes.
They call it a meteor shower. And a nameless NASA man says it could be a surprise missile attack.
Yeah, I mean, this was pre 9/11, so I guess we had it coming at that point.
Yeah, we were due, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while since Pearl Harbor, so we're due.
Yeah.
Defended or not?
No, because they're clearly not fucking missiles, because they're not exploding on impact.
It's obviously not missiles.
Indefensible.
Okay, cool. So number 1. Grace. Yeah, that is our Liv Tyler character. She and Harry are storming through the oil rig, and she is explaining to Harry why her childhood sucked, right?
Yeah.
She says, I was playing with titanium depth gauges when I should have been playing with dolls.
Well, I mean, doesn't that set back the whole, like, women in STEM thing? Like,
yes.
I mean, don't we want more working women, like, doing
we want women in
drilling
like that. Yeah, we need lady thinkers on oil rigs.
getting set on fire and covered in sludge. I mean,
boy,
I don't think it's defensive. I mean, she does have a point. I mean, the whole, like, you know, you brought me to work all the time and you took my childhood away from me. But like, also, I'm just looking at it through the lens of 2021, like, where it's like, I mean, like, aren't we kind of pushing for getting like women into these fields? Like, don't you want to get there? You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'm sure it's a good paying job as well. And I just thought it was really cheesy that this is one of those lines, like we saw that a lot in Battlefield Earth, where they just throw in what they think is like jargon to make the person sound more credible. So titanium depth gauges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just selected something that sounded maybe a little like she knows what she's talking about.
Like whoever wrote the screenplay opened up a book like How to Oil and just like went into like number 5 and just
exactly. All right, so are we tallying that?
Yeah, I'll tally that.
Okay, Harry, Liv's father. Bear would like to stay at the White Horse. He's talking about Michael Clark Duncan's character, what he would like out of NASA and the U.S. government in order to do this. And I like Michael Clark Duncan. I like Bruce Willis, but I don't think Bear would like to stay at the White Horse is funny because Duncan backs it up. White House, and it just wasn't. It didn't hit for me. It was not funny.
They didn't land it. I mean, like, because I get it because he was like kind of like squinting and looking at the crumpled up legal paper and like, oh yeah, white horse. So I mean, it was just a poorly executed joke all around.
Yeah, I just don't. I think they could have written a better joke in there. Personally.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I'll tally that.
Bang. That's 3 already. So maybe this movie is worse than we realize. AJ, that's Ben Affleck's character.
Yeah.
The gazelle now faces man's most perilous question: north or south? As he shoves an animal cracker down Grace's panties and into her nether region.
Yeah. I mean, I'm married with children now, but even when I was in like, you know, dating and like hooking up phases, I never once thought it appropriate to extol the virtues of animal crackers and how they're rather a cookie than a cracker and then shove it down someone's pants.
Right. I mean, that's not how you eat animal crackers.
No, not at all.
No. So we tally that one as well.
All right.
Harry again. While slingshotting, I don't know how you would say that, but around the moon in order to land on the asteroid the other way.
Okay.
We got these boys' wills filled out correctly.
Yeah.
I hated that one.
He's the one that brought them up there. He's like, hey, you're all going to die.
Yeah. I just feel like it was a quick way for Bay maybe to add a little tension. Like, in case you forgot, this is like a death-defying mission. Yeah. Right? So a little see-through for my liking.
Yeah.
Tally?
I tally that.
Okay. Man, we are 5 for 5.
Oh, wow.
Did you read the envelope that Colonel Sharp takes out of like the special protocol envelope? Did you read it?
Wasn't it just a bunch of letters?
You taught me this trick, Rob, because when we did Mortal Kombat. I did not read the little the little piece of mail that Liu Kang gets.
Oh yeah, with your brother dead, come home.
Yeah, brother's dead, come home. So I now look out for these things. And the envelope said, top secret, secondary protocol, eyes only.
Yes, I didn't see that. I didn't think about it though.
Whose eyes? Anyone's eyes? It says eyes only. Literally, it doesn't say your eyes only. Sharp's eyes only. It just says top secret, second protocol, eyes only.
I saw it, but I didn't even register it as something wrong. It just kind of flew over.
I want to count that as dialogue.
Count it. It's visual dialogue. I think that's a thing.
In your head.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 6. 6 for 6.
Is that all of them?
What's up?
Is that all of them? Because I have an honorable mention.
We have 3 more, but you want to throw yours out?
Go through your 3, and then just in case. I don't want to step on it, just in case.
Chick. You know the guy from Remember the Titans, the other head coach. I don't know the actor's name.
Okay.
He says to Colonel Sharp, "What are you going to do with a gun in space?"
Yeah.
He's pointing it at Bruce Willis inside the vessel, so nothing would happen to the bullet, and not that gravity, like almost no gravity, would stop a bullet from hitting Bruce anyway.
Yeah.
So I actually have no idea what they're trying to accomplish with that line.
It just is, once again, I think it's Michael Bay, just action fodder.
Yeah. We're in space, everyone. Remember, I know we're indoors right now, but
we're in space. We're in space. It's what I call there's certain shows like Family Guy's a good example. I call it a dishwashing show. Like you can wash the dishes or fold the laundry and look up every 5 minutes and know exactly where you are in the plot because they tell you every fucking 3 minutes.
Yeah, they really do. It's a very ADHD style movie.
Yeah, so with Armageddon, the whole thing's in space. They're in space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's you could do all your household chores and look up and just know exactly what's happening throughout this entire movie.
True. Very good point. So tally it?
Yeah, I tally that.
7. Okay, AJ to Lev, the Russian.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Evel Knievel? Lev says back, "Oh, I've never seen Star Wars."
You know what? I'm a fan of that line.
Okay. Because it sounds vaguely like Obi-Wan Kenobi or something?
Yeah, because it sounds vaguely like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it set up the whole jump that they were going to do, and that was fun. So, I mean,
okay, all right.
I'm going to say don't tally this one. I'm going to defend it because it's just. It reminded me of South Park when Chef says, "Do you know the Emancipation Proclamation?" And the guy's like, "I don't listen to hip hop."
I don't listen to hip hop. Yeah. Oh my God, that was in the movie, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that killed me. That line. Okay, this will be my last one here.
Okay.
So well defended, sir. We are 6 for 7 so far.
Okay.
Chick says as they're landing back from the mission, "It'd be an awful shame to die now." And then Rockhound, is Buscemi, says, "That's easy for you to say. I owe $100,000 to a badass loan shark, which I spent on a stripper named Molly Mounds."
I'm tally it.
Okay.
Because I hate it when they have these dialogues and no one in real life, no one's able to talk that long,
right,
without getting interrupted. And so it's just unbelievable. It's just too unbelievable for me.
I didn't like it. It just didn't strike me as, maybe that's why it just didn't seem like a genuine conversation to me.
Yeah. It would have been better if he was just I'm in the hole, $100,000, the end.
Right.
Got it.
He wouldn't call him a badass loan shark. That's cheesy. Sounds like wrestling, promo or something.
Yeah, or a loan shark's going to break my knees if I make it back down there. Something simpler,
Exactly. Okay, that's it for me. So what's your honorable mention?
It's the nameless guy who wanted to name the asteroid after his wife, but not the scene where he wants to name it after his wife, who's a blood-sucking bitch named Dorothy, whatever. The one when he's just get my phone book, get my phone book, get my phone book, get my phone book.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, there was no reason for that.
I agree. So why don't we make it 8?
All right. It's just so unhealthy. He just talks to his wife like that.
That's a heart attack waiting to happen. You're right about that. Okay, so we're going to move it on to the test number 4. We're flying here, Rob.
Yeah, we're flying.
Nice, which is good because we've got a lot of fat left on the steak here. So let's move it on to the emotometer overspill. I'm going to quickly explain that one.
Okay.
For this test, we'll use another piece of custom-made equipment that we refer to as the emotometer. The emotometer can be fine-tuned to the emotional output of an actor. When activated, the meter measures the peak of emotion displayed by the actor in the given scene and compares it to the range of genuine human emotion. The maximum outpouring of genuine emotion for a given scenario is 10 cages. That's a reference to Nicolas Cage, one of our favorite actors. A scene full of overacting will garner a score above 10 as it spills over the meter's limit.
Okay.
I wrote full, but it looks like I don't even know what that word looks like. So but we'll tackle that one better next time. So why don't we head into the Immotometer overspill?
You blow a fuse, sing from, the time will cut loose.
The Immotometer overspill, where screaming is king.
Wow! Of falling in love.
Okay, Rob, let's get right into it.
Okay.
Do you remember Carl, the telescope guy?
Carl, the telescope guy.
Yeah, the guy we were just talking about.
Oh, that's his name. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that was his name. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I wrote down this line. Go get my goddamn phone book. Get the damn book. Get the book. Get the damn book. So I have that registered at a 22.
Okay.
Score of 12. That's a huge scar to pop off, but I put that first because I thought it was funny, and how well did that work out?
Yeah, that was a perfect segue. Yeah, I'll agree with that assessment. 22.
Okay, nice. That's a big one. That's going to be hard to beat.
Oh yeah.
So Max, you know the like heavyset guy that's like in the tattoo shop?
Yes.
Do you remember one that are all being like psycho evaluated?
Mm-hmm.
He says something to the effect of a home run. The Cubs win the World Series.
Oh, from the dangling microphone that was like, not the kind of microphone NASA would have. I know they had it for like just comedic effect, but like, wouldn't NASA have the kind of microphones you wouldn't see?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
I feel like, why does that guy need him hanging? Like, why does the NASA guy in that evaluation room need a hanging microphone?
I guess they're recording the conversation, but like, that's just weird.
I guess so. I just gave that an overall score of 8, so an 18.
Perfect.
Not too crazy, but I thought it was worth mentioning because I really didn't like it.
It didn't really fit his character either. I mean, like he was a little slappy when like they were like trying to inject him with whatever like antibiotic or whatever vaccine before going into space. He's like, you poke me with that, I'll stab you in the heart. But he said it like, he said it like in a way like that was intimidating, but not like unhinged crazy. It was just like, I'm afraid of needles. I got it. But that whole like Cubs win, that just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I don't understand the character.
Nah.
Harry to AJ. Shut up. Those men in that room have zero tolerance for showing off, hot dogging, going by your gut instincts, or you trying to be the hero. You got that?
Yeah, the hot dogging is really what puts it over the top.
I think that's really where it like left the ground. Yeah, I only gave it a 7 because Bruce is good.
Yeah, I was going to say 14, which would be an overall 4. So, I mean, I agree. I can go with 7. I can push it up to 7.
Okay. I mean, it's not that it totally matters because it's not our highest register, you know, so it's not going to go into the Ask Cheek Arena.
Not the Ask Cheek Arena today.
But we do have another one right here that might challenge.
Okay.
For the right to see Turl in the Ask Cheek Arena.
All right.
Everyone in the Russian space station. Everything that happens in the Russian space station.
Yeah.
I gave that another 12, which is another big score.
Yeah, that's when Ben Affleck or AJ is just like, this is your fucking lever, when they're trying to get the fuel pump turned off because of the leak.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was bad, man. And they just destroy a space station in a couple minutes. It's like, that's just totally insane. It's like insanity. Just
on top of that, all the testing they did like prior to going up, because those gas lines were from the ships that left Earth, weren't they?
Yeah.
So why would they be leaky?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't even really. I mean, that should be a very routine thing. I think the ISS and I assume the Russian space station does that kind of thing on the regular. It's refueling so that the ship can go where it needs to go.
Yeah.
I've got Colonel Sharp. You swore on your daughter's life, on my family's, and then he shakes like crazy. That he would hit that depth as he looks like he's going to have a seizure.
Yeah.
For me, that was a 13.
13? Yeah, Yeah, compared to what other emotes that are going to happen in this film, I'd say that's fair. Just relatively.
Yeah. It's not the worst that I've ever seen, but it's bad acting.
Yeah,
and it's weird because I've seen that guy in other stuff. Like he's an accomplished actor. I don't know his name, but I've definitely seen him in other things.
Yeah.
Last one I have. Liv Tyler. No, Dad, no. I gave that a 0.3. So a 3. Nice. You know, when in the communication, when it cuts off and she like just puts her hand on the screen, she's like, no, Dad, no.
Yeah.
I just feel the need to mention when actors or actresses don't even try to hit the emotional mark.
Yeah.
And that one for me felt like her dad's in Aerosmith, so she doesn't have to try too hard.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just in the Crazy video, and what was the other fucking Aerosmith video she was in, like naked? I can't think of it right now. Well, stripping. They're like robbing stores and like throwing their blouses off their car like Thelma and Louise. It was her and Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was Crazy, and there was another one. There are two of them. There are two other videos. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wish I could help you, but I don't. So, do you want to send Colonel Sharp into the Ass Cheek Arena to battle Turl?
I'm down for that.
Turl had a 25, I believe. So a 15. That's the highest score ever recorded.
Okay.
Do you think? I don't think that Colonel Sharp has anything on Turl. I mean, Turl gets a huge amount of screen time. John Travolta plays it like manic energy the whole time. I have no idea what John's going for. It's just one of the worst performances I've ever seen. This guy, I was making fun of him, but it's nowhere near as bad.
Yeah. So
I think Turl just wipes the floor with him, one arm and all.
Pure slaughter.
Yeah, agreed. So we'll say that John Travolta, Turl, is still our full-on ass cheek champ.
Sounds good.
Johnny T still defending.
Can't argue with those numbers.
No, you can't. Okay, well, that's test number 4. Why don't we move it on to test number 5? I've got the summary right here. It is the poor taste detector. That is a test designed to identify and flag potential hazards created by the film crew. These hazards consist of moments of immorality, abuse, racism, phobias, and any other in poor taste scenarios.
Okay.
So we're going to just tally those up as well in our test number 5, the poor taste detector.
Oh my God, you can't say that. It's 2021.
Dude, I love that. I really do. Okay, dude, I've got a few here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1, they have an Asian client, a few on the oil rig, right?
Yeah.
Right towards the beginning of the movie. You know when they strike oil and it's very dangerous?
Yes.
The Asian client is like half covered in oil and he says, "Hi, Thumb, you are man, Harry." I think that's
funny. Yeah, that reminds me of there was the episode of The Simpsons early on when like they found out Apu's work visa expired and they were gonna deport him, and he tries assimilating and acting American. He's like wearing sports jerseys and got like American like regalia all over the Quickie Mart, and he's like, "I'm going to watch the game. The 9 Mets are my favorite." That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it's just stereotyping in that way. 2, this one's easy. Rockhound is a pedophile.
Yeah. Asking the age all the time.
Always. Which, only when he thinks he's going to get in trouble, I guess.
Yeah. Fun fact. This is one thing I do know about the movie. When I was just looking up some stuff about Armageddon.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi took the role of Armageddon because he was finally like after being typecast as like the sleazy guy. Yeah. He was just like, he read the script and he's like, he's not a sleazy guy. And then he takes the job, and then they when they punch up the script, they make him sleazy.
Oh my God.
So he's been running from that, and like they're just like they flew him right back into the role he was trying to run from.
Oh, that's messed up, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he does well, but he does. You got to say he looks a little sleazy, right? I mean, he's a crazy looking dude.
He is.
So he's a pedophile. Not surprising, really. I hate to say it. I'm sorry, Steve, but you look a little crazy.
Yeah.
That's why you're typecast that way.
Yeah.
Number 3, you know the general, the guy who like wants to initiate the remote detonation from Earth.
Yes.
The fate of the planet rests in the hands of a bunch of retards I wouldn't trust with a potato gun.
Yeah.
Don't think you'd say that today, would you?
Yeah.
Number 4, they claim that China is in the South Pacific. If you remember, Billy Bob Thornton's character says, "What warned the entire South Pacific when China is about to be hit by a bunch of meteors?"
Yeah.
I didn't think that China was in the South Pacific, so I checked on a map, like on Google, and it is not. So I think they probably should have taken a look at that.
See, I wouldn't have never noticed that because I'm not good at geography. Like I know where things are relative to each other, but it's like I need the map in front of me. I've always needed like a map in front of me or something. So he said that line. I didn't even consider to think that.
Yeah, I'm okay. I that was an interest of mine for a little while, so it struck me as wrong, and I took a look, and it was wrong. I was pretty sure, but I wanted to back up before I put it on air.
Gotcha.
The American NASA flight crews are, of course, called Freedom and Independence.
Mm-hmm.
From the asteroid? Are they liberating us from the asteroid? They could have
that's a good point.
Way cooler. It's just like a American conquer nonsense that I didn't particularly like. Yeah.
It's like stars and stripes. Yeah, it's and they're saying that's all America. Like, it's like they're saving the world. These rockets are representing the world. You know, maybe see what other. I know they're kind of on a crunch for time, but they could have not been so like America centric.
Agreed, especially since they're using the Russian space station to refuel too. So.
Exactly, they should consider the other superpowers at least.
Agreed. Okay, so I'm going to count that. Okay, so you know how Chick has a son his ex doesn't want him to be involved with? Yeah. A salesman. Yeah. And then because he saves the world, she says to the kid, like, this is just emotionally damaging, I think, for the kid. Yeah. That's not a salesman, it's your daddy. Yeah. I just think it's wrong, man. Like, now that he's a good guy, like, he's going to be your daddy.
Now that he hit the fucking Grand Slam, it's like he's not just some bum. He's like he's the fucking star of the team.
And the kid must be so confused.
Yeah. Why did that salesman leave me a rocket ship?
Yeah, exactly. AJ to Lev, the Russian. Affleck to the Russian guy. I'll show you now. How we do this where I come from. I'll show you how we do this where I come from. So then he blasts through the side of the shuttle. Yeah. Totally American style. Yeah. So exactly the same as like the fifth one, that like American, like just muscle kind of idea. Yeah. Didn't like that either. Okay. Lev to Watts. This is how we solve problem in Russian space station. So same idea. And he slams all the equipment with a wrench. Yeah.
Until it starts working.
Yeah, and it starts working. I didn't like that either. How do you feel?
No, because like that's like in Soviet wrench turns you. Like it's just seems like very Yakov Smirnoff-esque.
Exactly. So I counted that. So that makes for 8 poor taste signifiers.
Okay. I can agree with that.
That's a good score.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have.
I mean, the honorable mention would be what we already talked about, was with the animal crackers up the snatch and just the overall skeeviness of Stephen Buscemi's character throughout. When he's getting arrested and he's like, when he's just like, call NASA, call the FBI, call the CIA. I'll make sure that you're a security guard at a mall for the rest of your days or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, like, I don't think it makes the cut, but it's not an honorable mention for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also an honorable mention for the next category, actually, because it's like the ragtag bunch gets into a bar fight. It's kind of, I almost wrote down as a trope, but honestly, this is like one of the tropiest movies I've ever seen.
Yes.
So I didn't mention everyone that I could.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to have the highest trope score we've had.
Oh, absolutely.
So that is what test number 6 is. I'm going to give it a quick explanation, and then we'll jump into it.
Okay.
So bad movies rely too heavily on films of the past. When recycling an idea, a director or writer is committing to a trope. Almost every movie has one or two, but bad movies have many. We count them up, and that helps us to evaluate the film. So why don't we get into test number 6, accounting for entropy?
Obvious tropes, brought to you by, he's right behind me, isn't he? We're gonna need a bigger boat, and well, fuck me sideways and call me Senator Blimpy.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to hop right into it.
Okay.
You know, there's a trope that I'm not sure if people see this. It's something that I've noticed, but there's a subtle credentialing. Not sure if that's a word, but that they do while a character is involved in something else. So Harry is credentialed as the best oiler out there.
Yeah.
By fixing things and helping as he's screaming at his daughter walking through the oil rig.
Yeah.
So as he's going through, he like turns a knob here and like moves a thing there, and like there's no second guy on the job that there should be.
Yeah.
So it's a little cheesy to me, but that's a trope. It's like walking through and proving yourself. Like he's so good at it that he could be yelling at his daughter and not even paying attention, and he's helpful.
It's Brad Pitt and Troy when he wakes up completely hungover, just like walks up to the Cyclops and stabs it in the neck and goes back to bed.
Yes.
It's just like, this guy is an unhinged maniac, but God damn it, he knows what he's doing.
He takes Bo Agrius out, no issue.
Yeah.
The introduction of the ragtag crew, one by one, this happens a lot. Con Air is a movie that we mentioned maybe doing in the future. Yes. They do this really well in Con Air, but in this movie they do not. I thought the introduction of Michael Clark Duncan on the motorcycle was super corny.
When he's running from the fucking feds.
Yeah, and like they set up they set up a stop in the middle of the road, but they just like left a 6-foot gap in between the police cars so it goes right through. But as cheesy as that was, it wasn't as bad as Owen Wilson on the horses in slow-mo running away from helicopters.
Yeah. Where the fuck does he think he's going to go?
Important. Yeah. We're supposed to feel like, you ever have like family members that you grew up around when you were a kid and you just thought they were the shit? Yeah. And then you grew up and you're like, wow.
What a fucking wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel about this group. Like when you meet them on the oil rig, I'm like, these guys are kind of cool. But then when they do the ragtag group intro, I'm like, these guys are fucking corny.
Fucking losers.
Yeah, they really are. All right, so that's 2. Number 3, the foreshadowing of Harry's death. He promises Grace that he'll be back. I mean, that happens. That happens in every movie like this.
Yeah.
Slow-mo team walking in like parallels, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, when they're all wearing their garb, their astronaut garb. Yeah, walking towards the shuttles.
Exactly. So moving on, people listening to the American president all over the world, like over radios and walkie-talkies and on their televisions and stuff, happens in Independence Day.
Yeah.
You know, it happens, I think, a lot when and it is specific to the American president for some reason, too. It's just more American glorifying. Like,
exactly. Why aren't they listening to, like, the Swahili president? He might have something to say as well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Does everyone speak English?
It's American military might, that whole, and the whole Russia thing, which was like, that was big in the 80s because the Cold War, where like there was always some Russian adversary or friend turned adversary or adversary turned friend, or one of those. Yeah. It's always the two superpowers.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I should add that because we're using the Russian adversary. I don't know if they're adversary. But that's good. AJ communicating in the Russian station, that it's about to blow up, and of course it cuts off and there's like static and they can't hear him.
Yeah.
So there's an issue, and somehow it's like when the car doesn't start, when the maniac is coming after you.
Yeah.
Like, of course it would cut out now.
Yeah. And then right when they get to your bumper, the engine turns over. Oh, and then just in time, but the hook's still dangling,
Yeah, right. He gets a hold of the car, like he puts a hand in, but you get it. Man lands on the windshield in space. So the one of the two crews blows up, and of course, why does that happen all the time in space? Somebody hits a fucking windshield in space. You know how big space is? Yeah,
there's so many other spots you could hit. You could just hit endless nothing and fly up into space forever. Instead,
yeah, you could. But instead, of course, somebody hit the fucking windshield.
Yeah.
All right, dude, you've named this the 0 hour trope. It is omnipresent in this film.
Yeah. Yeah,
this film is a 0 hour trope.
Yeah. Just the turning off the bomb when they are fighting over who's going to detonate it. And then, of course, they get right past that brake line, right up to the brake line, and boom, the asteroid clicks just in time, clears Earth by far. Like, it makes no difference to humanity whether they missed it by a second or not. They could have just like made it blow up further back up when it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. But they wanted you to have the ultimate tension, as if you ever thought that they weren't going to blow it up in time.
Yeah.
Gruber dies. No surprise there. He's the guy that doesn't really get an introduction.
Yeah.
He is part of the oil crew, but we don't really get to learn who he is because they actually don't care. They're just planning on killing him off.
Yeah.
Easy death.
Yep.
The remote detonator is damaged, so someone must stay behind.
Yeah.
How convenient.
Playing hero, the whole... Yeah. They couldn't have... They had the smartest... Well, not up there, but they had the smartest minds communicating with them. They couldn't rig something with some like tinfoil and like a fucking like cell phone or something.
What are you doing, Billy Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, the last one I have. I just put basically all of the Harry Grace final conversation. The dialogue was just so run of the mill.
Yeah, just the like. I've always been so proud of you, Daddy. Mommy left both of us, not just you. Like that whole.
Exactly, the whole thing. I just felt like trope conversation, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
But that's how tropey this movie is. So if we're gonna count, you're like using the enemy as a friend. Trope, then we have 12, which I think is the most we've had.
I do have one counter trope though, if you want to hear it.
Okay, yes, I do.
The antagonist in this film is a rock.
That's true.
I mean, I guess you have Deep Impact, which is contemporaneous, but I mean, just throwing that out there, like, there's not a lot of movies where like the bad guy is a boulder in the sky.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Indiana Jones only for like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of some clever way to twist the Nicolas Cage, The Rock movie.
Yeah.
Into the antagonist, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, because that's Alcatraz. And
yeah, you're right. I can't. So reverse trope. All right. So you want to go with 11?
No, we'll go with your score. I just wanted to throw in that like I've never seen a movie where a rock can make 2.5 hours of film.
I agree, and like we said, it shouldn't have been 2.5 hours, but I like it, man. I say we just cancel one out. Why not?
Make it 11. Yeah, go.
Yeah,
for it.
Let's make it 11.
Fuck it. Anything goes. It's our show. It's our show. We can do whatever we want.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like we said, these are precision instruments, and once I dialed that reverse trope in and went back down to 11, we gotta go by the numbers here. We gotta make sure that this is on the up and up.
Oh yeah.
So Rob, I wanted to pass it over to you because lucky for us, we already have advertisers clamoring for our airwaves. So I'm going to pass it on to you to get that done for us.
Sure. This episode is brought to you by Uncle Murky's Dirt Farm Adventure Zone, right off Briley and Woodmont. It's a one-stop shop for filth and caca-related wares. Play your cards right, and Uncle Murky will tickle you himself. He'll put the mud back in curmudgeon. Uncle Murky's Dirt Farm Adventure Zone, right off of Briley and Woodmont.
Oh, wow. I am honored to have them.
Yeah, they speaking of like giant piles of shit, I mean, we're talking about Armageddon, so it seemed right for this episode to plug them. And I mean, they'll.
Thank you. What was it, Uncle Murky's?
Yeah, Dirt Farm Adventure Zone.
Oh, Dirt Farm Adventure Zone. Yeah. Of course, I've heard of them.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
You gotta put that Merc in your twerk.
Well, thank you, Uncle Murky, for reaching out. We appreciate it. All right, so we have one more test and then a little bit of bullshit to get through just for fun.
Okay.
So test number 7 is bad effects, side effects. This is a simple test idea with a complex but accurate structure. We grade the movie's computer graphics and practical effects on a custom scale. So our worst score for bad CGI is Deep Blue, in reference to Deep Blue Sea, the movie. Slightly better than that is Total Recall, mostly because of the practical effects of Total Recall. Pretty bad. Better still is Rock Scorpion, the infamous Dwayne Johnson as the Scorpion in The Mummy Returns, I want to say it was.
Yes.
And best of the bad, Beowulf. The CGI in that movie was unsettling because it was pretty good, but not good enough. So that's our grading scale. So we are going to point out some of the spots in the movie where we thought it was really good or really bad, mostly really bad because these are bad movies.
Yes.
I'm going to start off with the explosions. That angle of the practical effects I thought was pretty damn good. So I given that a Beowulf.
Oh yeah, I'll give you that.
Okay, cool. The takeoff. I said that this is cheating.
Yeah, I think they got royalties, or they paid royalties, and they got actual shuttle footage. So you got to give that a Beowulf because it's as good as it can actually possibly be.
That's true. It's cheating. But you know what? I mean, it's a movie. You can do what you want, right?
Yeah.
Just like this is our podcast. We're going to do what we damn well please.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, the flight in space was not quite as good. I'm going to give that a Rock Scorpion because they have like the shuttles going at weird angles and stuff, and it's just not how shuttles.
I think when you're talking about when they're flying around the back of the moon. Like
I was thinking about like after they leave the atmosphere of Earth and are docking like on the Russian space station.
Yeah.
So the next one that I have, actually, I was like all the angling that they do and stuff like that. It looks a little bit like really good video game graphics, or like a cutscene, but more like state of the art, like 2020 kind of video game graphics, which are pretty good, but still like kind of Rock Scorpion. Like you can tell, you know what I mean? But the next one that I have is a Recall, and that is when they actually connect to the Russian space station. There is a total choppiness. They just shouldn't have shown the docking, like if they couldn't get it right, because it's like literally the motion looks almost like what do you call that? Like claymation, like what do they call it?
Like stop motion.
Yeah,
stop motion.
Right. It almost looks that bad, and I was surprised. So I went Total Recall because I think that they might have even used practical effects to get that done. But again, I don't think they should have. Yeah,
I was going to say Deep Blue.
Okay, let's give it Deep Blue, and then we'll see what that does to the average. It is really bad.
Yeah.
I didn't like the practical effects of AJ on the asteroid. There's actually 2 instances where I thought it was Recall. The canyon jump looked like it looks like, and I know that they're in like practically zero gravity.
Yeah.
But it looked like everything was almost foam or like light plastic or something.
Yeah, like it had the whole like, it's on strings kind of vibe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It really is. And I wrote down that it's also a recall when AJ is blown out of the hydrogen hole.
The hydrogen hole. Yeah.
He's like, there's a gas cloud in here, hydrogen. And he just like comes flying out of the sewer.
Yeah.
But just to round it off, the meteor actually exploding, I thought looked really cool. I gave that a Beowulf.
Yeah, when it blew in half, it looked fucking awesome. Yeah, I'd go Beowulf on that too.
Yeah, so I mean, we have 2 Beowulfs. We have 3 if you count the takeoff footage.
Yeah.
A couple of rock scorpions, a couple of recalls, and a deep blue.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be Beowulf. I don't know. How are you feeling about it?
Can we slide scale between Rock Scorpion and Beowulf? Like, can we do like Rock Scorpion 0.5 or it's like
a Rock Wolf? Our first
Rock Wolf. Yeah, it's a first Rock Wolf.
And like we said, that we could do what we want.
Yeah.
All right. So CGI scored Rock Wolf, our first.
Yeah, we got
interesting.
Hell yeah.
But I think it might be our best.
Yeah.
We'll just have to take a look.
Yeah, we'll have to compare it to others.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I mean, there's another segment that I want to do here, and this one is the one where I talk about the inconsistencies, mostly illogical inconsistencies of the movie in question.
Okay.
These are things that don't fall into categories, kind of fall through the cracks.
Okay.
And I just pick them up and include them in my little rant.
Okay. And I'm probably going to butt in here a little bit, just ripping off of you because there's some things that piss me off about this movie.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I just interrupt me.
You got it.
Yeah. If you want me to stop, you can throw a little Aerosmith in there or something.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, sounds good. You mean like this one? like that. Cool.
Yeah, like that. All right, I'm going to start off right here at the beginning. The dog wouldn't survive, and neither would Eddie Griffin, the comedian.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the meteor lands right fucking on top of him.
Yeah.
But there's a giant hole in the floor, and the dog's dangling on the leash.
By its neck.
By its neck, yeah.
That drop alone would have, even like a little pug type dog, that would have snapped his neck clear in half. Just like,
oh, no problem.
Tongue hanging out of his mouth.
How many countless humans have we put to death in the same way?
Yeah, exactly.
After Harry tells Rock he's temporarily insane, Rock is on a crane, maybe just 10 seconds after that. So he's talking to him right next to him on the rig, and then the clients show up. I mean, it might be 5 fucking seconds, and Rockhound is hundreds of yards away up on a crane. So he just fucking teleported up there, I guess. Grace and AJ are allowed to have a romantic dinner in the thruster of an old shuttle. I don't think that happened.
No. Well, I mean, that might have been a demand. I'm just saying, one of their stupid things. They couldn't find out what happened to Kennedy, so they're like, let's sit in the thruster.
All right. AJ's ring is too small for the amount that he makes. He makes a lot of money, and there's like not even a diamond on there. It's supposed to be like a young puppy love kind of feel.
Yeah.
But he would have a rock on that thing.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Last night in the world, and you're going with fucking animal crackers? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I like an animal cracker. But I'm eating a fucking steak if it's my last night on earth, possibly.
They could have had like the best chefs available to them, like have like a Last Supper.
Yeah,
they could have done all that.
Shoving animal crackers into her cooch.
Yeah.
Meteors are categorically too small for these style impacts. I looked this up.
Yeah.
Those are asteroids, and they wanted to call them meteors so that they can say meteor shower because there aren't, as far as we know, asteroid showers of this kind.
Yeah.
So fuck that. This movie is kind of just bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not how spaceships fly, as I said before.
Yeah.
By the way, why did they change out of their spacesuits to go into the Russian space station? Did you notice that? They're all wearing their astronaut suits, and then they're in fucking jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah, I had no clue why they were doing that. Maybe because it was just like this whole movie, like it does play up the whole like relatable blue collar guy type of thing. So maybe they were just trying to. Maybe they had to like account for pressure change or something. But I think they just wanted them like wearing like what I'm saying it now, but I don't think it actually happened. But I'd be really funny if one was wearing an Aerosmith shirt. So
yeah, of course, that would be really funny. So they managed to destroy the space station in a matter of minutes, as I said before. Yeah. But the thing that really bugged me about it is that there's literal fire in the vacuum of space. That is not possible. They don't do that in a lot of space movies because they know you can't fucking do that.
There's lots of space fire in this movie. That's the thing.
There's tons of space fire. There's no air in space.
And here's the thing I want to mention to you too. what are you doing with a gun in space? Remember that line?
Yes.
And then Steve Buscemi and then AJ, they both have that space machine gun.
Oh, good point.
And they're just fucking popping shit off. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah. So that's what you do.
Yeah.
The news doesn't report the total destruction of the Russian space station.
Nope.
Is it going to land on Earth? Is it going to kill 1 million people?
Yeah.
10 Gs is enough to kill a human, by the way. They reached 10 Gs.
Didn't they go 12?
Oh, maybe. But the most that a human can withstand, I looked this up too, is maybe 9. And the reason for that is, if you don't know what G's do to you, is they multiply the gravity like dynamic. So it makes you feel, if you are at 9 G's, that you're 9 times heavier than you are. So you're probably not going through that either. But you can't get up to 12.
You probably need years of core training too. Like that's why, like the whole like, why did you train a bunch of oil drillers to be astronauts when you could have trained astronauts to use a drill?
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine when you're doing those G tests, you're just like, you're building up like a core tolerance to the G's over time.
Yeah. Astronauts are in great shape.
Yeah.
Like Max wouldn't have been on that flight.
Yeah.
I mean, he pukes a lot, so I guess they try to cover for that. And I went into the movie like with that very line that you just gave, like, why did they train oil drillers to be astronauts instead of astronauts to be oil drillers? And they tried to cover that.
With one line of dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then, so it still matters though, because they have to train oil drillers to be astronauts in the matter of how many days? 12 days?
I think it's 18 days.
Yeah,
something like that.
Beginning, so they have to get everybody together and all that. So it's probably even less. It's kind of like trying to teach, tribal like cavemen to be jet engineers in a matter of a week on Battlefield Earth. It's the same kind of idea.
Exactly.
And lastly, are they not expecting any debris when they blow the fucker in half?
Yeah, that's going to send how many fucking meteors or shards of asteroid or whatever into Earth.
Into Earth. I mean, we're fucked anyway.
They said it was going to be, they all got vaporized on impact. That's what they said.
Because of the space fire?
The space nuke? I guess.
I think just the like propulsion of the blast would send them even faster, if anything.
Yeah.
Into Earth. That's it. So I wanted to introduce a quick segment that I don't think that we'll do every pod, but something struck me in this movie that I haven't touched on yet, and I wanted to welcome everyone to the Father's Lounge.
Oh yes.
So for me, the Father's Lounge here is something that would never have happened to me until I was a parent.
Okay.
Maybe you can hear my kids screaming in the background as we speak. Chick's son, after the whole salesman thing, when he lands, Chick's son running out to him. Yeah. Like being a dad, like I left for a wedding for 2 days. Yeah. And I came home and my son wasn't old enough to really appreciate me being gone for 2 days. So it crushed me. Like I literally cried when I got home and he just didn't seem to care either way. Yeah. So when Chick's son runs out to him, it was cheesy, right? But I cried a little bit because I was like, this man has longed. Like the actor did a good job. Like when he saw the kid, earlier in the movie, he was like, my son, all I want is to be a part of his life. So when the kid comes out and like hugs him, I was like tearing up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Did you want to throw something out while we're sitting in our cozies at the Father's Lounge?
Oh yeah. Just I have a daughter. So you have 2 sons now. I have a daughter and a son. My daughter is almost 3 years old. It's when you're a dad, it's okay to like be wary of who your daughter's dating and who she's getting involved with, because you're of course concerned about her safety. Yeah. But it was almost creepy how involved he was with his daughter's love life, and it just didn't sit right with me, because like I know I love my daughter through and through, but when she's of an age where she decides who she wants to be with or who she wants to sleep with or marry or whatever, maybe marrying's a different conversation, because they're there's other things involved. There's custody and stuff like that involved if they have their own kids. But like, there's a certain amount of just like, dude, just like, just maybe just don't get involved in your daughter's sex life with your employees.
I mean, so the part where they're having that romantic dinner in the shuttle thruster.
Yeah.
Like Harry's going there with a purpose. It's like he's going to punch AJ in the face, but then he sees that they're like really in love.
Yeah.
Then he backs off. But like, I mean, it's really.
He also sees her lowering her strap and like kissing her neck and back.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, dude.
And he kind of hangs on for a minute there.
Yeah, and you know butt stuff's happening very soon, so you just want to not be near that.
They're going to break out the fucking animal crackers any minute. You better get out of there.
Exactly.
Unless you want to see an elephant's trunk where you don't want to see an elephant.
Exactly.
All right, Rob. So I'm going to move us on to your movie review, and this is maybe one of my favorite parts in the whole podcast.
Okay.
I can't wait, buddy.
All right. Okay. This one's kind of more of a summary than a review, but I think it sums things up. Bruce Willis and NASA form a ragtag group of misfit oil drillers with zero space training to save the planet from an extinction asteroid. They make the decision to drill a hole into the asteroid and drop a nuclear warhead into it, which is really, really smart. Steve Buscemi finds a space machine gun after getting space dementia and messes things up for a second. Bruce Willis, who is also Steven Tyler's daughter's father, dies at the end, kind of like The Sixth Sense, where he was also dead. Billy Bob Thornton has a discreet leg brace because it would be considered ableist by today's standards if there wasn't a gimpy cripper with some screen time. If you like blue-collar hijinks fucking up expensive NASA equipment to an entirely Aerosmith soundtrack, even the Beatles song, then this is the summer blockbuster for you. Also, Ben Affleck was there. Final verdict, it was kind of fun.
Oh, my God.
I don't want to fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing.
Wow.
There we go.
Masterfully done, bro. Oh, my God. That was great, dude. I can't wait. When you do this, I'm like, I'm trying my best to like hang on every word. And I feel like I can taste the delicious flavor of your steak reviews better the second time around. So I'm looking forward to when we have this bounce down so I can give that another taste.
Sounds good. Slurp it up.
Well done, sir. That was excellent. Last couple things that I have, you know how I like to end the pod with the bad credit names.
Yes.
So I want to see if I can get you to laugh here. I also want to discuss real quick what we're going to do for next week so that the listener knows what to watch for next week. So we encourage our listeners to watch the movie if you can. We try to find free movies so that you can do that with us free. We apologize if you have to spend a couple of bucks. Maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not, but we promise to look for free movies so you can watch along. So we'll be discussing what we'll watch next week after the bad credit names. So right now I'm just going to give you some of the names that I saw in the credits. This is what I do every week. I think it's really funny to just pause when I see something crazy and just write it down so I can see if Rob will laugh to the name that I picked out. I start slow and build up.
All right.
There was a metal shop foreman. That's his position, I suppose.
Okay.
That's what he's credited for. So a metal shop foreman named Art Cleaver.
Okay.
So his name is his profession is his name.
Yeah.
Okay. Just thought that was kind of crazy. Art Cleaver, the metal shop foreman. The guy who's making art by cleaving is named Art Cleaver.
I like it.
There was a Dr. Bob Chapman. So he made everybody in the fucking crew call him Dr. Bob, apparently. Just so you knew he had a PhD. Actually, one of the performing artists, I think in a song by John Denver, was a woman. This is during the title read, Chantel Kraviazuk.
Kraviazuk.
That's a cool name.
That's a cool name. I like that
Chantel
name.
Kraviazuk.
If I have a third kid, I'm going to name it Kraviazuk.
All right. I'm moving on to Craig X-Ray Halperin.
Is it like in quotes?
Yeah. Everybody call me X-Ray.
I'm just imagining somebody showing up for like a marketing meeting or like a district sales meeting, and they're like, "Hey, Craig." He's like, "No, call me X-Ray." And they're like, right. All right, so the numbers for March.
Yeah, call me X-Ray. I never wear a jacket. John H. Johnson.
I never liked the double names.
No, I don't understand it. I guess it makes you unique. Is that what they're going for?
There's a bass player I really like from like the Motown era named James Jamerson, and that name I find that name bothersome.
Yeah, it's pretty similar from first to last. Rickley Dumb.
Rickley Dumb.
All right. You know the dog that we mentioned earlier?
Yes.
In the movie, his name is Little Richard.
Yeah.
But his name's Frankie. So they gave the dog a character name, Little Richard, instead of just naming the dog Frankie in the movie.
The name that has trained its whole life to be like the one thing it understands and responds to. They couldn't just call it Frankie. For the 45 seconds of screen time it had, half of which is dangling by its neck.
Yeah, the poor fucking thing. Poor Frankie. All right. Timothy Solomon.
Solomon? How do you spell that?
Salmon.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because that's how it's pronounced.
Got it.
Matt 45 Magnolia.
Is 45 in quotes?
Yeah, 45.
Like a gun?
Or his age?
Or a malt liquor? Yeah.
It could be malt liquor. Thought that was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Hoyt Yeatman.
That's a fucking great name.
Hoyt Yeatman.
He better be yeeting shit like all over the place.
Yeah, he really should be.
Yeah.
He's got to be tossing shit around. Brian Morenci is not a weird name.
Oh.
However, what he did, the way he was, the title of his job, I guess, is what really bugged me. In quotations, best boy.
Oh, best boy. That's they're the ones that hold the boom mics, I think. Or it's either lighting or microphones. Yeah, it's an old. It's an old name from like back in the early days of film. Like the best boy was like the best one in the crew was the one that held.
Okay,
or something like that.
Good, because I was starting to buy into the conspiracy of like Hollywood having a lot of like sexual slaves or something. Because I have no idea what a best boy could possibly be.
The best way to confirm that is to order like a really expensive armoire off Wayfair. I think that's the only way to prove the pedophilia.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Because they're mislabeled. They're actually slave children, right?
Yes.
That's what I've heard that too.
Bunch of best boys.
I've got two more for you. This one's kind of cool, kind of weird. I don't know. Smoky Stover.
So he's an appliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like a frozen dinner.
Oh, like the mac and cheese and the lasagnas. Yeah.
Yeah. Hickory flavor, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
All right, last one.
Okay.
Googie Gress.
Googie?
Googie, yeah.
Googie?
Googie Gress. Googygyress.
Googie Gress. I mean, it's grown on me.
It's got to be a nickname, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's all they gave us. No quotations, nothing. Just Googie Gress.
Googie. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all what I got, man. I'm glad to have gotten a couple chuckles out of you. Hopefully the audience. Well, what are we watching for next week, buddy?
We were saying we want to do a Nicolas Cage thing, right? Because we have the whole Cage meter. So you said Wicker Man. I
did.
And I was thinking Con Air.
Yeah.
I think Wicker Man had when we were coming up with the whole Emoto Overspill segment, when we were coming up with the rank for the cages, the overacting we used for that metric was, not the bees, not the bees.
Yes, exactly. That's true.
And like, you bitches, killing me won't bring back your honey. So I think maybe we need to watch that just because, like, if everything in that movie in our minds is a 10, then that's the metric in which we're kind of scaling everything else against.
Yeah, exactly. So I like Wicker Man. I'm looking up real quick if we can watch either for free. And it looks like if you have a premium subscription on Amazon, which I think we both do.
Yep.
You can watch it for free. It's also on Sling TV, which I don't have. But
okay, I think
it looks like we can watch it on Amazon for free.
Cool. Yeah, and Sling TV is an app that has, I think it has advertisements and things like Tubi.
Fine.
Where there's just for our audience, and also to our audience, we do have an email address. We're working on some other stuff to contact us.
Yeah.
Right now, we're at bombfilterpod@gmail.com. And if you guys just want to say hi, tell us how great our show is, tell us how crappy our show is, suggest a movie or anything like that, well, all emails will be considered.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to try to keep up with that as best we can. Also, social media presence, I think, to follow. And we'll be putting these up on SoundCloud. Is that correct?
That is correct. And what I will do is, let me just get a browser open real quick because I'm not sure what the extension is. I think it's just bomb-filter. But okay. Let me just double check. Sorry, guys. We're kind of new to this whole podcasting thing. We're, running through the whole soundboard, Zoom meeting, editing, all that kind of shit. So
Chris reading his own writing.
Yeah. You know what? It's bomb-filter, and I could change the URL. That's just what it's going to be from now on. SoundCloud.com/bomb-filter. And cool. I'll make that happen.
Awesome.
Okay. So anything else you wanted to touch on before we play out?
I just want to thank you, as always, for taking care of the technical side. I really enjoy our dynamic. I think this is fun, and I hope we start throwing this out for people to hear.
All right, sounds good. So with that, I'm going to play us out, and then we're going to stop recording, and we're gonna talk about you guys. All right, so that's it. This is the Bomb Filter.
I don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing.
Okay, so it's time for the recap.
All right. So I do have the recap done already here. So I'm going to run through these numbers, and we'll see what you think, Rob.
Okay.
Check this out. So we're going to start with the budget botch watch. That's our first official test.
Okay.
Both of them scored a negative 40 million.
Okay. That's
so, I mean, I called that a wash.
Yeah.
Obviously. But we're going to circle back to that.
All right, so we can call it the budget botch wash.
Oh, I like that.
On this go around.
Well done. The elevator movie plot pitch. Battlefield Earth got a 22. Armageddon got a 24. Armageddon also had the 3-star score. We had not given a star value at that point in our beginnings. So what do you think of a 1.5?
For Battlefield Earth?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's generous, actually. But I'll go with it just for the sake of comparison.
Okay, so that gives Armageddon 2 extra seconds.
Okay.
But a worse star rating for Battlefield Earth. So why don't we call that a wash?
We'll call that a wash as well. And it's tough with Armageddon because it's a much longer movie.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like you do have to encapsulate more in your pitch. So it's, even though it had the longer time, I feel like those couple seconds were, it has to make, you covered a couple Michael Bay explosions. So I think those.
Yeah, right. So indefensible dialogue counter, 8 for Armageddon.
Okay.
Battlefield Earth only had 7. I don't know how that's possible, but that's the truth.
I'm gonna go again with the length of the movie. Because we do think that Battlefield Earth is the worst movie ever made so far, but Armageddon does seem to be turfing out pretty fucking hard right now.
I never thought anyone would get over the budget botch watch of Battlefield Earth.
Yeah,
but Armageddon just double TKO.
Okay.
Ometer, overspill. Battlefield Earth does have it here with a 25.
Okay.
John Travolta's Turtle was pathetic.
Yeah, I'll agree with that wholeheartedly.
Colonel Sharp brought up a 23, which is good. A score of 13 over, which is respectable, but I still think that Turtle takes him out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So Turl is still our defending full-on ass cheek champion.
Full-on ass cheek.
The poor taste detector, as you remember, Battlefield Earth didn't have many spots where it was in poor taste because it was cyclos and not humans for the most part. So we only ended up counting 4 of those, but for Armageddon we had 8.
Okay.
So another win for Armageddon. And then tropes, as you know, we said before, Armageddon was the tropiest movie ever made. It had 11, and that's after the reverse trope.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because the Rock was the antagonist. Not Dwayne Johnson, but like an actual Rock.
yeah, right, exactly. But Battlefield Earth had 8, which was a lot, but still loses. So Battlefield Earth swipes back with a Rock Scorpion for bad effects, side effects, which is worse than the Rock Wolf for Armageddon.
That's true.
So the reason I wanted to circle back to the Bonch Watch is because if we don't ding Battlefield Earth for the embezzlement of money, on top, then that actually means that Armageddon's a worse movie.
Huh. I mean, it's a great way to start a podcast if you think about it. We're starting with the reigning champion. Are you okay with calling Armageddon the worst movie ever made?
Yes. Are you?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's not up to us, dude. This is science. These are just the numbers.
And you know what? As bad as both of them are, I would watch Battlefield Earth 100 more times.
So would I.
Armageddon it's too long, man. You gotta make a day of it. You gotta hire a babysitter. You gotta find a quiet secret spot to watch it. You gotta sit there and watch the whole film. And Battlefield Earth, you can have on at a party in the background and be like, "Oh, it's Turl,"
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, Turl's just doing his fucking Turl thing.
I would put that on at a party.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's why no one comes to my parties.
I don't throw parties, so.
I'm trying to think of what. Oh, okay. So have you ever seen a cooking show on the Food Network? They do this a lot. So it's they make a dish and then the judges rip it apart because there was too much on the plate. So they're every new item that you put on the plate is another chance for us to critique you. So everything has to be perfect. We're going to do that.
Okay.
In that sense, Armageddon gave us too much on the plate, so we had more to critique.
Exactly.
It's a worse movie because it's longer, like you're saying, and there's just way more for us to make fun of.
Yeah, and you know what? Battlefield Earth takes place mostly on it takes place on Silo a little bit, and mostly on Earth, whereas Armageddon's 50-50 on an asteroid and on Earth. So they're covering more.
Really?
They're covering more worlds if you think about it.
That's true.
Yeah,
good point.
So. Yeah, fuck Armageddon, I guess.
Yeah, fuck Armageddon. It's the worst movie ever made.
Okay, I agree with that.
But we're gonna keep Turl in the ass cheek arena though.
Oh, because he did them out way more. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm about to rip through Wicker Man, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I have a feeling. I don't remember Nick Cage's character's name in this movie, but man, if anybody's gonna put up a fight.
Yeah, it's just Nicolas Cage in every movie. That's what we call him.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
so
I never know his character's name. I was the guy Nicolas Cage played, and that's pretty much how it works out for me.
So normally during the pod, we try to use the character's name. I think maybe in this case we use the character's names that aren't Nicolas Cage, but I'm just saying Nicolas Cage because he's Nick Cage. So.
He's Nick Cage, the one and only.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do when I'm taking my notes too. It's just going to be all Nicolas Cage. He deserves it, He deserves the nod.
The accolade.
He outworks his character.
That is true.
He is Nick Cage. He isn't the name you might give him for some fictional epic.
Okay. All right. So is that a wrap?
That's it.
All right. So
Armageddon, worst movie ever made.
All right, guys, and we'll see you next week with The Wicker Man.
Woo-hoo.